Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed. Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to episode 2. If you liked episode 1 and you're back, thanks so much. If this is your first time, welcome.
We're happy to have you.
With me is Caitlin, a mom, a wife, a friend, and a redhead.
Ah, yes, that is true. That does describe me very well. Well done. That's Mona Lisa Saperstein. You know her from the Don't Be Suspicious song. She and her brother faking their own deaths. And then singing Don't Be Suspicious in the background. Not really. She's Jenny. She's also a mom. She's got her sweet little boy hanging out in the background. So if you happen to hear a mom moment, you probably know what that's like. So so welcome and embrace it. We're two moms.
Who are also teachers.
And we often pretend to adult on a regular basis.
We know lots of things.
But we really don't know even more things.
This podcast is a little bit about a lot.
Yeah, like, a mile wide and an inch deep.
Our approach to teaching is just all about fun and practicality, so come along, learn and laugh with us. All right, and our name comes from when things get real. You just throw your hair up into a top knot, you get your hair out of your face. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's make it happen. If you were here with us last time, we had a few circle time little corners where we talked about a few different things, and we've got a little bit of that going on. And so Jenny is going to update us on the world of sports for right now. So Jenny, what's happening?
So last week I talked a little bit about Stanley Cup hockey, and it is still going on.
Nice.
So that we don't have a Stanley Cup winner. We thought one was going to come last night, but Montreal pulled it out. So it's now 3-1, Tampa Bay. Coming up soon is the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. People who play in the All-Star Game are voted by the fans. Some ball clubs also choose players. It happens in the middle of the season. This is what we call the All-Star break, and it marks the middle of the season. Now, it's not exactly the mathematical middle, but we have the first and second half of the season marked by the All-Star break.
Yeah.
NBA All-Star, also in the middle of the season. NFL football Pro Bowl happens at the end of the season right before the Super Bowl. So you'll see a lot of NFL players who've been elected to the Pro Bowl actually choose not to play because they don't want to get hurt before the Super Bowl. That's not as common. It's not as common in MLB. Number one, because baseball is not as much of a contact sport, and because they have a whole second half of the season. But Jake DeGrom is not going to be pitching in the All-Star game. He's trying to protect his arm.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
He's looking really great this season, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
The game actually moves city to city each year, kind of the same way the Super Bowl does. And this year was going to be in Atlanta, but there was some stuff going on in Georgia. I won't dig into that, but you guys know.
We'll let it go.
So instead, it's in Denver.
Yay!
And next year, it'll be at Dodger Stadium in LA. Now, this All-Star break is a whole week of events. There's a family festival that happens throughout the week where you can meet players, get autographs, see all kinds of artifacts. There's something called the All-Star Futures game, which is like the Rising Stars. There's the Celebrity Softball game where you can see JoJo Siwa.
Just to be clear, for the celebrity softball game, the one I remember is the one that was in St. Louis, and they had Nelly out there, and he this is still when he had the Band-Aid under the eye thing, but
it's a fun game, and there are pros who play along with it.
Right, and I think Andy Cohen was there too, because he's from St. Louis or from the area, but don't they pull people who are from the area? So then are they pulling people from Atlanta, or are they pulling people from Denver to do the celebrity game?
This is a great question.
Okay.
This is a great question.
We'll follow up.
No, we need to find out.
You guys probably don't know this because I don't think we've talked about it on the pod yet, but that is where I spent most of my life. To date, I am from Denver, from specifically Aurora. Denver celebrities, that's kind of a big deal to me. That's a big
So
thing.
you don't know if JoJo is from Denver.
It is cool that she's going to be in it. I'm happy for her. Probably no Bo, I'm guessing.
Well, actually, it's funny that you would say that. She recently was in an article, and I can't tell you where I saw it, so I'm, I don't have any sources to back
It's
it
all
up.
right.
She was in an article where she was saying that it was harder to tell her mom she's done wearing
The
bows
bow
than it was to come
for her
out.
to come out. Yeah, that's when you know it's part of your brand, right? Like it's like you're like, Mom, I have a really big thing I need to tell you.
I'm like 20 years old. Is it okay if I don't wear a bow as big as my face anymore?
Oh man. Oh goodness. Okay, my apologies. I just
it's
totally
fine.
derailed you. So
No, it's fine.
All
One of
right.
the other things that happens during the All-Star break, for the very first time this year, they're going to do the first round of the draft.
that's super cool because I mean, my husband is a big baseball fan, as yours is too. My husband does not care to watch the All-Star game, like because he's like the outcome, like
Right. It doesn't mean something.
in terms of what actually happens for stats for the season. So
No, it's just for fans.
it's just for fans. And so for us, if they're going to do that during this time period, then maybe like it might be more exciting for
pulls
the
in a different
hardcore.
crowd.
Yeah, exactly. The hardcore fans of actual baseball are going to be more into.
Well, there's a lot of things that baseball can do to make themselves more marketable.
We can do that.
But the two big things that happen during the All-Star break, the two things that everybody's interested in, are the home run derby and the actual game itself.
Yes.
And the home run derby is really fun to watch. It's a bracket style contest. You, as a batter, get 5 minutes, as many pitches as you can get in that 5 minutes, to hit as many home runs as you can. Now, what's really sweet about this is you get to pick your own pitcher.
Right.
And so a lot of the guys have their dads or their brothers or their best friend pitch
Or
for them.
dad figure, whoever. Some of them choose little league pitchers and stuff like
Right.
that, which is just so sweet.
It's super fun.
I love that. And there's also this is a different format from what it was a few years ago, where it used to be that you got
A number of pitches.
It's 10 pitches or something like that, and you got to hit as many as you could. Yeah. I like the 5 minutes.
I do too. So the science teacher in me has to share an interesting fact about the home run derby.
Yes, I know you do, because being from Denver, I know this statistic. I know what happens, and that's why I'm so stoked to see how this goes. So tell us about it, science teacher, because I need you to explain this to me.
Okay. The home run derby is actually affected by elevation.
That's going to be a mess.
When you are further above sea level, the air is what we call thinner. We really mean less dense. There's less molecules per volume, right? There's less air particles. That's why people get elevation sickness, or it's harder to hike when you go higher up, because the air is less dense.
Right. And we're talking about Denver, which is nicknamed the Mile High City for a reason. And as someone who has watched many Rockies games in Coors Field, which is the name of the field in Denver, I will tell you that these balls fly through the air. Fly. It's unreal. People get home runs who are not really the best batters.
Right. There's less air resistance because there's less molecules rubbing up against the ball.
Love it.
So the ball can fly further. Now, if the home run derby is in Miami, which is at sea level and kind of below,
Yeah. Below sea level.
then the air is much more dense. We call it thicker, which isn't necessarily true, but it's much more dense. There's more particles per unit volume. And so there's more resistance, and it's harder to hit a home run.
Oh my gosh. So
It's an advantage or disadvantage to everyone.
Right. So everyone will either hit more home runs, forgive me, and then or they'll, if you're in Miami, they'll hit less. And what's funny to me is if you've ever, this feeling, you arrive at a place that's a higher elevation than where you live, and the air just feels different, right? For me, getting off the plane in Denver is I just feel refreshed because the air is so light and thin and it's dry, which is another issue that the ball is going to have to be probably put in a humidor ahead of time in order to compensate for that. But then when I come back to Texas, if the air is a slap in the face, it just, you open the plane door and it's just it just hits you really hard. It's that humidity and all that too. It's going to be interesting. I intend to watch it.
Last night when we were watching Stanley Cup hockey, I asked my husband, how many pucks do you think they use in a game? And he goes, oh, probably 5. It's not like baseball where you go through 100 balls in a game. He said, the puck's not like flying over the side of the boards into the stands very often. Well, then I looked it up. The average is 45 pucks a game because they get damaged during a slap shot. Like chunks come off.
That makes sense.
And they thaw. I think I told you last week
thaw?
that they freeze the pucks beforehand because they're made of rubber. They don't want them to bounce. And so they thaw during the game, so they have to turn them over and put cold ones on the ice again.
I didn't know that. Oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
interesting?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that.
Okay, so back to the All-Star game. There's 2
Yes.
leagues in
Sorry.
There's 2 leagues in Major League Baseball, the National League and the American League, and they both have a team of All-Stars. The players on those teams wear a special jersey that shows what league they're a part of, as well as who their home team is. The manager of each team is the pennant winner or World Series winner of the previous season. Sometimes they mic players on the field.
That's the best.
That is so fun. The guys on the field who are wearing the mic have a headset with the announcers, and they're chatting back and forth. One of my favorites is when they do it with Mike Trout. He's just so funny.
He's great.
And he's a great role model for kids. He's really upbeat and kind. And also, he just loves to joke around. So you can see that the guys are having a good time out there.
Yeah.
And again, like we said, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anyone's statistics. It doesn't make them more or less eligible for awards. It doesn't change anything about the World Series. It's just a fun game.
So do they not do the thing where, like, if the National League or the American League wins, then that's who starts as the home team for the World Series? That doesn't happen anymore? They don't do it that way?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought that was a thing.
Is
I'm
that
pretty
what
sure
it
that's a
is?
thing. I think
That
whoever
determines
wins,
who will be the home team for the World Series.
I'm pretty sure if the National League team wins, then that means that they start as the technical home team.
And see, this is why we have this podcast. Because, right? Like, I am telling you what I know. I also had to go to MLB.com to learn about some of the other events. I didn't know about the family,
Yeah.
the fan fest and all
I
of
didn't
that.
know that either.
Shout out to MLB.com. It's all listed out there and gives you good explanations of each event. I did know about the density of the air because,
Well, yeah, that's
again.
science teacher lady. That's
but
you.
I did not know about
I'm pretty sure
how they determine the home team in the World Series, but that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's why, you're supposed to be invested, right? Like, you're supposed to care because of that.
Right.
Either way, I think it's just fun. Baseball's supposed to be fun, and like to take this and like amp up the fun is great to me. I love it. Thank you for that.
All right.
That's helpful.
Oh yeah, so let's pivot to something like way more serious.
First of all, I love the Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics. I have I don't even know how many events that I love to just follow. And one of my favorites has always been track and field. And then I love swimming. And as someone who wanted to be on like a real swim team, but like never had the follow through to actually do that.
I mean,
To
it's
me,
a lot of work.
Right. It's a lot.
How familiar are you with 4 a.m.?
No. And I firmly believe that 4 a.m. is not an hour that anyone should have to ever see. Like, you should never have to look at the clock and go, oh, there's a 4 and it's morning time. That's just me. But one of the things I've been interested in, because I do love the Olympics and because I love swimming, is this new the swim cap for people of color that's supposed to be more accommodating to their hair. I found this article on Huffington Post. Everywhere else I've looked has been all pretty much the same information. But what I learned is that there is a company that is called Soul Cap, and Soul Cap makes swim caps for black hair. What happened was they submitted their swim cap for approval by the International Swimming Federation. It's called FINA.
Okay.
FINA said, no, you guys can't use these swim caps in the Olympics. Something about how they don't follow the natural form of the head. Like, okay. And then they doubled down on that statement and said something to the effect of, athletes haven't used nor do they ever need caps of such size and configuration. So just to give you an overview of what this cap actually looks like, it is a swim cap. It is like snug around the head, but it's fuller at the top and at the back.
Almost light bulby.
Yes, almost. But again, as sleek as it has to be, because you're trying...
It's still a swim cap.
Right, it's a swim cap. Me being a Caucasian woman, having like white girl hair, and I mean, my hair for white girl hair has texture, but it's not the texture that requires this protection that black hair does. I mean, I've squeezed my head into swim caps. I know it's difficult for me with like my mountain of hair. I cannot imagine having fuller hair that also requires oils to be protected from the water, and then having to put your hair into this tiny swim cap. And then my guess is that the oils would also make the swim cap slick back, like come backwards.
Or Caitlin, in order to be a competitive swimmer, you now have to cut your hair short or shave it.
Like
you shouldn't have to choose that.
No, you shouldn't have to make that choice. And so I was looking into kind of what the experience was for black swimmers, and they were very excited about this cap because it does accommodate their hair and manages to still stay snug on the head, which means that their hair would actually be protected in the water. Like, think about all of the opportunities that provides to new swimmers, and how inclusive that swim cap, like, you don't think of it as a barrier as a white person. Like, that wouldn't be a barrier to me, a swim cap, but I can see just how incredibly exclusive that swim cap can be, because FINA has said that the cap can be used for recreational purposes like teaching or whatever, but not for competitive sport. It was pretty, in my mind, incredibly disrespectful. I could see FINA saying we can't use these because they provide a competitive advantage. But they don't do that.
And as a white swimmer, wouldn't I also be eligible to wear the swim cap if I chose?
Sure, right. I'm sure you would. Like, why not?
If I think it's going to give my competitor an advantage, can't I also wear it?
Right,
it's like a fast suit, right? If you want to have a fast suit, buy a fast suit.
Well, there was that whole controversy about the suits a few years ago too, right? Where it was like, well, women don't need those suits. It's like, it feels a little sexist, but that was just me. But this cap, like, if anything, because it's fuller at the top in order to accommodate the hair,
you would think more resistance.
It's going to have drag. Yeah, it's going to have drag. So to me, if it's going to have drag, so it's not providing a competitive advantage, and you're going to be including so many more new swimmers into the sport, which is what you want. Why wouldn't you just allow this swim cap? I don't see the reason for being exclusive. This is just the whole point of the Olympics, is to provide like just inclusivity, and the whole world is watching, and look at what everyone can do. Why would you try to exclude anyone? Whatever. So as of July 2nd, I guess, FINA was reviewing the policy. So hopefully some good news comes from that. I've just been like, just let them swim. Like, what?
I am totally turned off by this.
I know. It makes me so angry because, I mean, we do have lots of people who would really appreciate to being able to wear this swim cap. Like, come on. Yeah. Okay. So, you would think like those 5 rings are supposed to be inclusive of the entire world. Can we please just go ahead and do things that actually allow a majority of people from one continent and a lot of people from a lot of other continents to participate in this sport comfortably? Who decides what normal is? For so long, normal has been defined as white people, and that's not what normal is. So why do you get to say what normal head shape is? Have we not seen people with like abnormally shaped heads? Like, what's the deal? Like, my head's not a normal size. Whatever.
Women's softball, they make batting helmets with a channel for a ponytail.
You're accommodating a whole group of people in the sport. It's not fair. I don't like it. And you know what, FINA, just because something is what we've always done doesn't mean that it's right. So let's just wake up and just include everyone. They'll figure it out. Hopefully we'll have good news for next week. All right. Well,
so remember, this circle time is a chance for us to all get together on the carpet and share stories. Sit crisscross applesauce and share about what's going on in our world. Something that I'm not ashamed about is I have become an expert on the chicken wing shortage.
So I'm going to need to understand. You mentioned this the other day, and I just was like, all right, save it for the pod, because I got to know what you're talking about. I mean, there's 2 wings per chicken. Like, what's happening here?
So I actually didn't care much about the chicken wing shortage until I was talking with my mom, And she was like, yeah, I looked it up because I wanted to know why there was a chicken wing shortage.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I also looked it up. I'm telling you, the Texas Monthly article by Paula Mejia, this is so good. The name of it is The Cluck Stops Here.
Stop it.
I
Shout out to Texas Monthly. It's like the best publication. I love that thing. Oh my gosh.
They're so great.
They're so good.
So there's a lot of reasons that we have a chicken wing shortage. The first one, of course, is COVID. More and more people are ordering takeout. According to this article, Wingstop had like a 32% increase in takeout orders.
That's a lot.
Also because of COVID, less people were working in meat plants. They were running at a lower level. And so less capacity, so less chickens. Okay?
That makes sense.
In Texas, we had a really awful snowstorm that was also not supported by our independent power grid. That's another story. I'm not even going to go down that road.
No, don't. It'll make us angry.
But I will say that during what a lot of Texans refer as snowvid, 1 million chickens died.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And a ton of freezers lost power.
Without power.
So they had to throw out all those chickens.
I did not even think about that.
And snowvid happened right after the Super Bowl, a time when everyone is eating chicken.
Everyone ate chicken wings. Oh, I did not even put that piece of it together. That's hysterical and sad at the same time.
So, Caitlin, when we started this segment, you said there are 2 wings on every chicken. And actually, when we're talking about chicken wings as a food, there are actually 4. Because they take the wing and cut it into 2 pieces.
Yeah, that's true.
So, why is there not a shortage of other pieces? There is. It's just not as bad because when you order chicken breast, you get 1. When you order chicken wings, you get 10.
You get a plate. Yeah, that makes sense. That's so ridiculous.
You might get 10. But when we order chicken wings, I may or may not have ordered 20 before.
I can put a hurtin' on some chicken wings.
Yeah. We are a low carb most of the time family. We're not on any prescribed diet. We don't follow any specific rules, but we try and cut carbs as much as we can during the week. And so chicken wings are a great choice as long as you pay attention to the sauce.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of times where John and I look at each other and we're like, all right, let's get some chicken wings. And we will tear them up. And because we're not getting fries, we just get a side of wings with our wings.
I mean, look, chicken wings are amazing. They're a crowd pleaser. You're probably not going to have someone say, no thanks, unless they're, not a meat person.
Right.
So, I get it. It is a little bit, I don't know, devastating to think about all these poor chickens. Oh no. Like, that's just awful. That's awful.
So if you go out for chicken wings, be prepared to pay a little upcharge. Most places are posting it on their doors or right on the menu and saying, hey,
we have
to charge
wings.
More. We either don't have them or we're charging you more than what they were before. So there you go.
Hopefully it'll go back to normal. All right. So you also told me the other day, you told me a very adorable and hilarious story about your sweet boy. Can you please just rehash that for us? Because it was so cute. So cute.
So my son is 2, almost 3. And we are in the throes of potty training. And knock on wood, it's been pretty successful. Accidents here and there, but he seems to get the concept and is able to listen to his body. We were in the bathroom and he was working really hard to
relieve
finish.
himself. Yeah.
And he looks at me as he's grunting and says, I need to take a breath. And kind of brings his head down, and you can see him like in this meditative 2-year-old state. Oh, and then he whispers to himself, come on, Kit the Fox. You can do this.
I mean,
we have all been there.
Yeah,
we have been there. I don't know that I'm coaching myself out loud. But I have in my head many times.
When you get to that point, you only hope that you have the inner strength to say to yourself, I'm so close. Like, I can just finish this up. I'm right there. I got this. I can do it. And he did. And I love that he has that motivation. So sweet. Did I tell you about how, along those same lines, I installed a bidet in our master bath all by myself. I was super proud.
Wow, you're a plumber.
I mean, no, but I'm very intimidated by all things plumbing. So I really was very scared to do this. And I, thankful for my anti-anxiety medication that helps me not obsess about these things. So I just went ahead and was like, I'm just going to do this. So I got it done and didn't think about it until later on when my son walks into the bathroom and goes, Mom, what's this? And like turns it on full blast with the toilet seat open and blasts water all over the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, like the fountains of Bellagio.
Oh yeah, no, it was like it rocketed water across the entire bathroom. Like I was finding water like everywhere.
With that level of power, is it enjoyable?
He cranked it. It has
I see.
Yes, it does not need to be that high.
Because I'm not sure I need a pressure washer, if you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't need a pressure washer either, but it does do what it's supposed to do. And you can adjust if you need a power wash, you can adjust to that point. He certainly turned it on to power wash mode.
I see.
So, yeah, but it Mom, why do you need this? It's really nice.
You don't need it.
No.
Okay? We can talk about need versus want. Right. I want this.
This thing came up on Amazon Treasure Truck. And it was severely marked down. And I went, you know what? I've been trying to get one since the toilet paper shortage of 2020. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. And it was like a year later. But I don't care because I got one and I wanted it. And it was easy to install. So there you go. So I guess that would fall under my current obsession is just making sure that I feel refreshed on a regular basis. But I'm sure you have something that's probably not a gross obsession.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just discovered this yesterday. I hadn't even told you about this. I had no idea I was going to talk about it on the pod. And this is one of those times where we say we don't know even more things. Yeah. I didn't know anything about this. And I still really don't.
Okay.
I am currently obsessed with Graham's number.
Okay.
Do you know anything about this?
I do as a former math teacher. I do, but go ahead and tell because I want you to explain this. It will make more sense.
So I cannot explain it. All I can tell you is this idea of a number is so big that if you were to try and comprehend how many digits are in the number, your brain would turn into a black hole because there is not enough space in your brain for that density of information and would actually make your brain collapse on itself. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I saw a video. I have been watching YouTube for hours since yesterday about Graham's number. And the guy Graham is either still alive or like recently alive enough to be able to be in the videos explaining it. The whole concept is how many dimensions can you expand a cube? So like 2 dimensions would be just a square, right? 3 dimensions is a cube. 4 dimensions, we have a special name for it called a tesseract. 5 dimensions, 6. And we just keep expanding this cube so it has more and more dimensions. How many dimensions can we take the cube before all the sides would be the same color if you were randomly coloring it in?
I mean,
they know that you can avoid all of the lines being the same color up to 12 dimensions, but they're not sure about 13. There is no computer out there that can calculate this number.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's like raising a power to a power to a power 7.6 billion times or something. It's insane.
Okay.
And but I want to know what it is, and yet I know that I never will.
Okay, so I'm pulling this up. This is an article on the Science Explorer by Elizabeth Knowles, and she says you've heard of a Googleplex before, right? The Googleplex. Right. Okay, that is a 1 followed by 100 zeros.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 101 digits, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Graham's number, to be clear, is so large that it's much larger than that. Like she goes on to say in this article that like I can't even explain what this is. It says
it would be trillions of digits.
Right. This number is so big that I can't even tell you how many digits the number of digits has, or even how many digits the number of digits of the number of digits has. It's too big of a number for me to write about. The thing that kills me about this Graham's number thing is that it's not even infinity. We're not even close to infinity, but yet it's just that
So big.
Infinitely
And
large, weirdly.
They think it ends in 7.
Because of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Yeah, that's interesting. I like it. All right. I like how your obsession is learning something while mine is making sure that my tush is cleaned up.
Mine last week was QVC mug. Not QVC. Okay? Just the mug.
I mean, yeah, all right. We can't all be geniuses all the time, folks.
Right.
But with that in mind, Jenny is going to teach us a little bit about how to buy tickets to an event. And if I'm not mistaken, your husband was in the market for Elton John tickets, and they had not yet gone on sale. And you were like, oh, here they are. And just Googled Elton John tickets and tried to get him to purchase Elton John tickets that had not yet even gone on pre-sale. So there was clearly a need here.
Yeah.
Clearly a need.
My husband is very particular about tickets. And I think it's because he's good at buying them.
Okay.
2 separate times he has sent Abigail, my daughter, and I to concerts. And both times the tickets have been phenomenal.
Nice.
He and I have been to a lot of shows together, and the seats are normally pretty great. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He also knows when to splurge and when not to. And so when we saw that Elton John was doing his farewell tour, which we don't know if it's farewell or not, but, you know,
That's what he's calling it.
it's what he's calling it.
Yeah.
John hasn't seen Elton John. And we said, well, why don't you and Abby go? I've already seen him. I've already sang on stage with him. You can't top that.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing.
I mean, it's just one of those
really
memories
incredible. If we have time, we're gonna need you to hash that out. Yeah.
you guys should go. And so we put on the calendar the day that the tickets release. And that morning he texts me and says, when do these tickets go on sale? And I said, today. And he said, well, what time? I said, oh. And I quickly Googled Elton John tickets and said, they're available now.
Oh, perfect. Let's just
And
do
he said,
it.
great, where? And how did you see that? I said, well, I just Googled Elton John tickets and sent him the link of where I saw them. He texts me back, Jen, that's a scammer. That's not even a real website. These tickets aren't going on sale until the end of the day.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
So thank goodness I didn't buy them.
Yeah.
So I decided that this week I would tell you what I have learned from him about buying tickets. So he
Perfect.
walked me through his method. Now,
Okay.
this is the John ticket method, right? This is not the only way to buy tickets. I am not telling you that I am going to get you the best deal on tickets. I am telling you that this is how my husband, who buys tickets for a lot of different events and doesn't normally buy bad tickets, overpay, or show up at the event and realize that the tickets that he bought are not valid.
Got it. This
Okay.
is the way to pay minimal fees, good seats, and not get scammed.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
So the first thing he says to do is actually go to the website of the event itself.
Sure.
So in the case of Elton John, you would actually go to Elton John's website.
Yeah.
We do not Google Elton John tickets.
No.
You go, and so if you're buying tickets for a Broadway show, and you're not going to go to the tickets booth in Times Square, the TKTS, if you're not going to do that, or a sporting event, you go to that team's website. Because on their website, they will list the official ticket outlet for the event.
Sure.
Like Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
And at that point, you go to that website.
Yeah.
Now, those websites, you have to be mindful of fees. They might charge you $20, $40 a ticket on fees. So you just need to keep that in mind when you are pricing out what you want to spend.
Yeah.
Now, he says, and this is just a little side note, if you are buying tickets as a gift for someone, try and buy up.
Explain what that means.
Spend a little more.
Yeah.
And buy a little bit better than what you would get for yourself.
That makes sense. If it's a gift.
Right, for 2 reasons. The first one is if you think someone that you're giving these gifts to, so for you, Caitlin, if I thought you wanted to see Elton John, you probably do.
Yeah.
And if I gifted you tickets, you are now not going to buy yourself tickets. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give you something less than what you would have bought for yourself.
That makes sense.
So that's one reason. The other one is he says, man, you kind of come off a little stingy if you get there. The tickets are bad.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, thank you for
Thanks. Tickets behind the pole.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he says if you're buying for someone else, level up just a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So how do you know where you want to sit? If you look at the map of the venue that's normally included with the tickets, a lot of times they will have pictures of the point of view from those seats. The technology is there for most of these ticket outlets. But if it's not there, there's a lot of subreddits for stadiums where people have posted pictures from their seats.
That's smart. So then how would you go about finding that? Would you just Google that one?
I actually just go to Reddit and then search the stadium and view.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm getting pictures.
That's smart. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
So shout out to Reddit. Thanks for all of you Redditors out there putting pictures of your seats.
Reddit's
and
amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of Top Knot Talk, if you are at an event, take a picture from your seat and post it so that the world can see what you see.
Exactly. That's amazing. Good thinking.
Pay it forward. Okay, so should you be in the middle of level 1 or should you be in the front row of level 2? This is a personal preference. For sports, a lot of times higher is better because you get to see more of the playing field.
Yeah.
But some sports fans have specific preferences about where they like to sit in the stadium. For example, my husband always wants to be behind home plate if he can. Even if that means that we're at the top level of the stadium, behind home plate, he likes to watch the ball come in and he likes to call for balls and strikes.
I getcha.
I, on the other hand, like to sit on the first baseline. I think a lot of action happens at first base.
Yeah.
And I like to sit right behind the dugout on the first baseline.
Well, and I'm just short, so I have to accommodate the fact that someone is probably going to sit in front of me and block my view. So whatever that means for me, like if just with that question, like middle of level 1 or first row of level 2, I'm going to choose first row of level 2 because that means that no one is going to be sitting immediately in front of me and I can see. That makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So if you are buying tickets as a gift for someone and it's to a sporting event, look into the club level. It's not going to be the ground level, but the experience is heightened. There's better food, there's better service, there's less people.
Yeah, typically.
You might get a better view from the club level than you would from a lower level because you're further back in that section.
Check into your credit card benefits too, because I know when I was living in Denver, my credit card company would offer half off club level tickets for Rockies games. So you can look into that and see if that's an option too. You might have to divert from this plan of going to the event website in order to do that. But if it's your credit card company, it's probably going to be a pretty reputable website.
Right. And a lot of times they will advertise that to you.
Yes.
This is how I saw Paul McCartney when he came to Austin many years ago.
Oh, cool.
Amex ran a deal that you could buy tickets beforehand.
Yeah.
Everyone says, 50-yard line is the best tickets in football. Well, it's not because most of the action happens at the 50-yard line, right? There's not a lot of action at the 50-yard line. No. It's the idea that you are equal distant from both end zones.
Right. You can see everything.
Yeah. So think about what you can see from where you're sitting.
Yeah.
It might be that a closer seat further down might be a better ticket than 50-yard line at the top of the stadium.
For sure, that makes sense.
Depending on what you want to see.
Yeah.
If you want to watch all the action in the whole field, maybe you do want to be high up on the 50.
Sure.
But if you want to, see the sweat on their jerseys, you might choose, okay, I'm going to go for the second row, but I'm going to be on the 15. Which means if the action is at the end of the field, at the other end of the field, I'm not going to see as much.
Right.
But when they come down to the red zone on this side, I'm going to see a lot.
Right.
So it comes down to personal preference. When you're buying tickets for a theater event, you want to be in the center section because the sound is better.
Hey, I didn't think about that.
I didn't either. The wings on the right and left, the sound is good. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about professional productions here. But he says that in the center section, the sound is going to be the best. You want to be mindful of where the mezzanine or the second level overhangs in the center section for both sound as well as for view. If it hangs over pretty far, you can probably sit in the mezzanine because you're still in the center section and you're raised up just enough to be able to see the stage. And then when you're buying tickets for a concert, be very mindful of how the arena is set up, right? Is it going to be a stage in the round? Is it going to be a horseshoe shape? If you're going to be on the floor, how far back are you going to be? Is this a show where people are going to stand and dance or mosh? Or is this going to be a show where people... Yeah.
I'm so
Or
old.
is it a show where people are going to be sitting? I know that when we went to see Cher, we were seated in the second section on the side. I know the people behind me were not too excited that Abigail and I stood for most of the show. So sorry about that. But I lost my mind when she came out in that fishnet bodysuit.
How could you
Turn
not?
Back Time.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
So if you can't buy tickets right from the official outlet,
sure,
you're going to buy them on the secondary market. And I was told we're going to trust StubHub or SeatGeek.
I hadn't heard of SeatGeek before. This is good.
Well, SeatGeek is the Kayak of tickets.
So Kayak, the travel company, they just like bring all the information to you. They're not actually a dealer necessarily. They're just the ones who are pulling everything and saying, here's a list of all the things that we can find with your flight time and your schedule or whatever. So SeatGeek is similar to that. Right.
They are what you call an aggregator, not to be confused with the aggro crag from Guts.
Oh, that's a shout out to all of you elder millennials like Johnny and I.
So, SeatGeek will tell you what all tickets are available and how much they're going to be. Both of these services, StubHub and SeatGeek, will tell you exactly how much it's going to be with fees. And StubHub's really cool. They will also tell you if you're selling your tickets, how much exactly you're going to make after you pay back your fees. So you can choose. They also give you suggested prices based on what the market's doing. John always says, don't try and catch a falling knife, right? Don't try and buy tickets at the end and think that you're going to grab it by the handle. You might get it by the blade.
Yeah.
So there have been times where we waited until after kickoff and bought first row tickets for $30.
Holy cow.
Let's see what's available after the kick. Because at that point, sellers are panicking.
Right. Absolutely.
And so we were able to get really great seats for $30.
That's really nice.
I did find out that the person sitting next to me paid $300 for theirs. So
so don't advertise when you get your seats for $30.
Right.
Don't say that.
But sometimes when that happens, there is no price change. Like when we went to the World Series, we had 2 tickets. That was enough for me and Abby to get in, but not for John. And so he said, don't worry, I'll hang out outside the stadium and see if I can buy something. Well, the price did not change.
No, it didn't.
And so he ended up spending quite a lot to get in and buy a standing room only ticket. But that was game 5 of the 2017 series that went into extra innings and ended up the Astros winning 13-12.
I mean,
so it was a very exciting game.
That's a
it was
good one.
worth it in the end. But still, you have to be careful if you're going to buy after the event.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy tickets as a gift, it always helps to have someone on the inside, right? If this person's not like living in your household and you can tell them, hey, don't buy that.
Yeah.
It's nice to have someone who can say, hey, I know that they like to sit along the first baseline. No, we don't have that weekend available.
Yeah.
Or actually, she's already seen Wicked.
I would see Wicked again.
Oh, I would too.
It was so good.
So it helps to have someone who can help you get to know that person. Again, the little buy a little bit better than what you would buy for yourself when you're giving a gift. And just be mindful of the fees when you are looking, because a lot of times they're not included in the original price.
Right. And if you've budgeted $300 for tickets and you see tickets that are going to cost you $300, but then you end up spending $375 because of fees, like you've blown your budget. So just keeping that in mind makes a lot of sense. And usually, and those websites have to post those fees ahead of time, don't they? Or like when you put the tickets in your cart, it'll say plus this much in fees. Got it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
The big lesson here, the big takeaway is do not just Google Elton John tickets and then buy from the first link that comes up.
Yeah, I think that reputable sites, I mean, here's the thing. Like, so many sites are really good at making sure that their stuff looks legit. So I think that piece of advice of heading straight to the event coordinator or the host or whoever's page is going to be helpful. Okay. So starting either with the venue, if you know it's going to be there, or with whoever you're trying to see with their official site is going to be the way to go here.
Right.
Okay. And you said that StubHub, or SeatGeek are the way to go. I just tried to combine those two words. Yeah. It doesn't work.
If you're deciding to buy on the secondary market, StubHub or SeatGeek.
Got it.
The aggro crag of tickets.
So wait, hold on. Aggro crag. So I was at the chiropractor this morning, and I love this place so much. The girl who like provides the entertainment for the people who are waiting, had on the old school.
What?
Yeah, we have entertainment. So she'll like put on Top Chef.
Welcome to Austin, Texas, friends, where the chiropractor has a pre-show.
To be fair, you're sitting there in a chair with a TENS unit on your back, like getting your back shocked into normalcy. So like it is nice that there's a television there waiting for you. This place is great and I love her. Anyway, today the girl had on, her name's Kelly. Kelly had on the old school Space Jam. I have never been so happy in my whole life to be sitting there. My millennial heart was just so happy to watch Space Jam. I'm like, oh my God, Lola Bunny coming out and just killing it on the court made me so happy. I'm like looking at all these people and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Muggsy. Oh my gosh, look at Charles Barkley looking all confused because all of his basketball powers are gone. Anyway, that was just that's my happiness right there. It made me so happy. Aggro crag. Can you tell we're elder millennials, guys? We really are.
It's okay. I don't identify as a millennial.
My husband likes to call us the Oregon Trail generation.
I can align with that.
Yeah, there's an article that came out calling people who are born between like 80 and 85 the Oregon Trail generation. We got to grow up with that, but that was like the thing. Anyway, just that was the...
For me, what really determines how I align is that when I was in school and I had to do a research paper or project, I either went to the encyclopedia or the library or Encarta.
Oh, yeah. Encarta 95. Oh my gosh. Yeah, with the Windows like image, the actual window like logo on the disc. Yeah. I would agree. Like elder millennials are being called. Actually, my mom sent me an article that called me a geriatric millennial, which I was I'm
into that.
Put off by. Excuse me with your geriatric terms. Not a fan. But the Oregon Trail generation is, if you're going to call our group of people as something, that would be the one that I think I identify the most with, because I don't like being called elder millennial. As
long as I don't have to die of dysentery.
No. No, you have to try and...
caulk the wagons and float.
So here's another thing. This came up the other day. I was talking about this with a friend of mine. I have this group of girlfriends. We talk. We're all over the country. And one of them sent me a message yesterday saying, hey, I put on an oldies station on Spotify and Nora Jones came up on the oldies station. We were trying to put it together, like, how is that possible? And then I was like, oh, but wait, she was 20 years ago. That's like you and I being kids and listening to the band. Like, it just, you know what I mean? Right. It just doesn't make me feel any better. Nora Jones, you do not belong on an oldies station. If you're listening to this, you don't.
I put on Whitney Houston in my classroom and I had a student say, oh my gosh, I love oldies.
I just snorted. I'm so offended. Or when I really realized like I was definitely an older generation is when TikTok came out and I really could not figure out why kids were so obsessed with the Kesha song. I was like, why are we all talking about this song that Kesha released in 2008,
a long time ago,
when she still had the money sign in her name? Why are we still talking about this song? And then
you realized it had nothing to do with brushing your teeth with a bottle of Jack.
No. And one of our friends from our previous place of employment says, oh my gosh, I'm on TikTok and I'm learning so much. Oh, it's an app. Like
I
oh
wonder
my
if I
gosh.
could learn about Graham's number on TikTok.
I bet you can. You can learn so much. And again, there is a man who on TikTok likes to take comparisons of like songs that are on oldie stations now and what it would be like for us listening to an oldie station then. So that's how I put together Nora
it's
Jones.
like ratios.
Yeah, it's like Nora Jones to us is like the band, or sorry, Nora Jones to kids these days is like the band to us.
That's crazy.
Or like, Sly and the Family Stone or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever floats
All
your
right, with
boat.
that, we're out of time.
We sure are. Guys, it's been fun. Thanks, Jenny, for teaching us all about buying concert tickets and event tickets. That's helpful. I think someone will find that to be useful information. So I appreciate it.
But again, this whole idea of Top Knot Talk was born out of what do we have to learn and how can we cut out the middleman for you?
Right.
What experience have we gone through that maybe we can save you from?
Yeah. So stay tuned for next week. We have a couple of ideas in mind. We'll just keep those under our top knots for now. But if you like us, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to wherever you listen to your pods. We're all over the place, and you can find us on Instagram at Top Knot Talk Pod. You can find us on Twitter. So please look us up and start to follow along. We would love to have you.
Make good choices.
And don't forget to use your gift cards. Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.